Welcome to One Insight. My name is Rich Litvin. I grew up in London and I now live in LA. And this is a podcast for extraordinary top performers and their coaches. You see, I've coached some of the most successful and talented people on the planet. I can see what most people cannot see, and I dare to say what most people wouldn't dare to say. And what I know about success is that on the other side of it, it can be incredibly lonely. You can feel more of an imposter the more successful you become. And when you're the most interesting person in the room, you're actually in the wrong room. Clients who are more successful, more intelligent, and wealthier than you need your support more than they know and more than you can imagine. I coach around insight. Life looks one way, something happens, and the world looks different, and your entire world changes. It can happen in an instant. And this podcast is called One Insight because a single insight can change everything. Today, I'm coaching Ngan. She lives in Australia, successful businesswoman who's transitioned into coaching. She's a member of Project Kairos, my community of leaders who are building a coaching practice. And we have a really short conversation because I coach around insight, and sometimes when they've got the insight, we're done. You know, successful leaders are often running on empty, and they don't see it, and they don't know it. And we peel back the curtain through a couple of questions that Ngan realizes this for herself. She is close to burnout, and she needs time and space. She cries really quickly. Because when you create enough safety for someone to speak about what's really true for them, there's a release of emotion. And that often looks like tears. I think you'll enjoy this one. Hi, Ngan.
Hi.
Hey. Thank you for joining me. You joined me all the way from Australia for this conversation today.
Yeah.
What would make this an extraordinary conversation for you?
I need to stop hiding.
Well, good job. Mission accomplished already, because this will be listened to and witnessed by thousands and thousands of people. So mission accomplished. Tell me more. Why do you need to stop hiding?
I feel like there's something big that I need to do, right? There's something greater than me that needs to be accomplished. And if I continue to hide, which I'm so good at, one, no one will see me, which is, again, is a good thing sometimes. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it doesn't allow me to really get out there and serve people in the way that I really want to. Yeah.
So from what I know about your background, your background is in business. You have your own business already, nothing to do with the world of coaching. You've been very successful in that business. And then you've got this desire to transition into coaching. It's why you're a member of Project Kairos. You're in my community of high-level entrepreneurs and leaders who've come into coaching. And so there's something on the other side of this that you want. Tell me more about what's on the other side.
If I were to, I mean, obviously you're not asking me the question, but if I think about the 3-year question, 3 years from now, where would I want to be? And I think about having my own family, which we don't have at the moment, and being able to have clients that come in and flying in to see me. So like my dream is to live on a property somewhere on the South Island of New Zealand and have clients that fly in to see me, where I can then create a safe space for them to be able to relax into what they really want in their life. And these are people who have worked so hard their entire life, pleasing other people, serving other people. And I want to be able to create an incubator or a safe space for them where they can just really relax in and feel into what they want in their lives, other than the service part of it. So that's what is on the other side of this. And then on top of that is also, I want to be able to give back and really, this is such a big thing, and I think it's maybe you're the second person who's heard this from me, but to really shift the mindset of the Vietnamese community around competition versus creation. And, being of Vietnamese background, it really is important for me to be able to do that. So, does that answer the question?
Well, you tell me. It sounded very powerful to me.
Yeah.
The first of all, you put into the mix, you want to have a family, which is intense in itself. Planning for that, starting the process of getting ready to have kids, and then wondering when it's going to happen. I'm literally watching the clock right now because my brother's wife is in labor as we speak. So it's an intense, and it doesn't stop. I'm 8 years into having 2 kids now. It's a massive commitment you're talking about there. And that's just one part of this. The second part is that you see that there are people who've made a difference their whole lives, been in business, been entrepreneurs, been serving others, giving back in all sorts of ways through creating business, and need space for themselves, whether it's just to have some space for downtime so they can recover and recuperate and rejuvenate, or whether it's to dream big for what's coming next. And then on top of that, where I really felt you feel moved, there's a distinction you see in the Vietnamese community where you could really make a difference. I mean, each one of those is big, but the 3 together, that's a lot.
It's huge.
Yeah. Tell me, if you were only allowed to focus on one of those, but it would be most likely if you focus on that one, that all 3 would happen anyway, which would it be?
And the thing that came to mind was the coaching part of having that space for people to come in and ground.
Yeah. It dawns on me that in order to do that, you'd have to model that. So you'd have to create space for yourself. Look, I'm one of those people who knows what it's like to have a life which is about giving to others and taking care of others and being there for others. And it's exhausting, right? And being an entrepreneur, having a business that makes a difference, that makes a profit, is exhausting. And so you'd have to not just create it, but you'd have to walk your talk. And I'm imagining if you had the space for that, it would slow you down enough that you'd have space to think about creating a family and maybe do it at the very same time.
Oh, it's crazy because the more I slow down, there's so much guilt around it.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew going into this you'd make me cry. But there is like so much guilt around slowing down. And the moment I slow down, I feel like I've stopped the engine.
Yeah.
So it's not just slowing down, but complete standstill. Nothing happens. And it's like, yeah, the guilt that comes from that, it's crazy. Yeah.
First of all, let me talk to everyone who's listening. It's not that I make people cry, but if you can create a safe enough space for people to touch what's really true for them, there's a release of emotion. And tears are just one of the ways we release emotion. There's nothing good or bad about tears. There's a sign you got somewhere, and that's what happened just now. So thank you for trusting me enough that you were willing to really go there. What I heard is it's not just guilt, there's also fear. Guilt, I know this one. I feel guilty if I'm working because I want to be with my family and I should be with my family. I feel guilty of with my family because I should be focusing on the business. And God forbid, if I go and have a massage for myself, I feel doubly guilty because I should be with the family or working on the business, or anything but taking time for me. And I heard there's a sense of fear in there. If I slow down, the fear is, well, then I'll stop. And this is how my mind plays out. I'll end up sitting on the couch watching Netflix, but eating one of those giant bags of Cheetos on my tummy and just living like that forever and never being a productive member of society again, ever.
Right.
Yeah. I'm reminded in this moment years ago, working with a coach around some of my fears about the money running out when I was new to being an entrepreneur. And he said to me, Rich, what I get about you is if you really did become homeless like you fear, then, and you had to go and live in a homeless shelter, I'd give you about 2 weeks before you'd be running the shelter. And I just knew it was true. It's just who I am. Yeah, it'd probably be 1 week. I would just be right. I've been organizing things. It's just who I am.
Yeah.
And I know that's why you're smiling, because you get that truth of that for you. Neither of us, like our limit for watching Netflix, we've never yet hit it. It's because we've probably never given ourselves more than 1, 2, 3 days to do it. A week in, most, we'd be bored and we'd be doing. So there's something around letting go of that fear. You know what it is? It's probably, because what it is for me, it's the voice of my mum or dad who's saying, you've got to work hard to succeed in life, which is a really good program to install in a young child on one level.
Mm-hmm.
Work hard, you can accomplish a lot. But there comes a moment when that young child is no longer young anymore, and they're still playing out that outdated software of, I've got to work hard, and yet they haven't stopped working hard. And they actually, at this moment in their life, need to stop working so hard in order to accomplish more.
I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
But the execution of that, see, is like even that is like, I have to do something. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I first met Steve Chandler, who I wrote the book, The Prosperous Coach, with, he said, Rich, you remind me of my little puppy who runs around my house really fast. But when he gets into the bathroom, we have a slippery tile floor, or the kitchen. It's running and its legs are like this, moving really fast, but the body's not moving, because that's you. You're just moving so fast. And ever since, that was over 12 years ago, ever since, I've taken on this ground rule for my life. Slow down to speed up. You can see behind me on the camera, there's a snail, a little plastic snail that sits on top of my bookshelf to remind me, slow down to speed up. I constantly remind myself of this, and I constantly forget. Let me check in with you. What's the biggest takeaway you've had so far from the conversation, Ngan?
It's okay.
Mm.
It's what I'm really getting is it's so okay to put me first.
Mm-hmm. I can feel all the emotion inside of you. And I know if you were coaching somebody else, you'd be able to tell them that. It's not just okay, by the way, it's essential. If you're a business owner and you don't take care of you first, at some point you're going to burn out and the business will not keep working. Right. If you're a parent and you don't take care of you first, at some point you're going to flip on your kids. I'm talking as a dad who knows this one from the inside out. You're going to lose it with the kids, or if you burn out, you can't take care of them. If you're a coach, there's this energy you need to be there for your clients. But if you don't take care of you first, there'll come a moment when you cannot be there for them. It's actually essential.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, here's the crazy thing. We could talk about this more, but you've got the insight. And this is a distinction of doing versus being. There's nothing you need to do right now. You don't need to put this onto your to-do list and give you that, because that's the temptation, right? Something more to do.
Yeah.
This is about knowing. This is why slow down to speed up is a place I come from. It's there's nothing to do, but it's a reminder to me. It's one of the heuristics that I live my life by, a rule of thumb I live my life by. I say it out loud on a pretty regular basis for me. So if you want to create this space where entrepreneurs just like you can rejuvenate and recuperate, you've got to walk your talk. You've got to go there first. What if you created the first one? I don't know what it might look like. It might be it's a weekend or something like this. What if you create the first one and you let people know, I am doing this for me as much as for you. In fact, if nobody comes, I will be there on my own, doing the exercises and the walks on the beach and all the other things that others need to do. You can't lose on this one. If you get one other person, it's a bonus. But if it's just you, it's exactly what you need. And when you do the second one, you'll be able to talk from the impact of feeling the benefits of having that retreat. Put one on the calendar. Pick a date, put it on the calendar, tell people about it, but know that if no one comes, you win.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. And I think we're there. The power of coaching for me is in the insight and then in the application. And the moment someone's had an insight, it's tempting for a coach to want to turn it into a 27-step plan. All right, Ngan, what's going to be in this event you're going to create? And what's the date on the calendar? And when are you going to do it? How many people are you going to have? What's the price point? My sense is you've got everything you need to answer those questions. And we're there in this moment. Thanks for trusting me. Thanks for playing with me.
Thank you for creating the space that I'm able to open up and do this. Yeah.
Thanks, Ngan.
Thank you.
For most of human history, it wasn't called coaching, it was called leadership. And it's what I love to do, to coach people, to lead people, and to mess with people's thinking. If you'd like more of this, or if you'd like to learn more about our community of extraordinary top performers, go to richlitvin.com/oneinsight.